Hi everyone, my name is Art Moorhead. I'm with Art Photo Design, and probably the first thing that I want to show people is the right way to paint and base paint the walls. In the past I have seen a lot of video out there to where the other people who are teaching it are making it way too hard. It's a simple process, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this and the less messy it is. Basically what it is, you use a 9-inch roller, half-inch nap. On a textured wall, it's good to use a 3/4 inch. And usually the best naps to use are 3/4 lamb's wool. Lamb's wools are a little bit expensive, but they won't shed on you. In other words, the fibers won't come off the roller as you roll it on the wall. And in the past, I have seen some cheap roller covers that would actually leave fuzz on the wall. And when you're doing a faux finish, that could be very detrimental to your finish, because the last thing you want to see is something like that on the wall, and it's almost impossible to get that kind of stuff off your wall. So make sure you use a lamb's wool roller, because that is going to be the best product, the best finish is what you're going to have with it. The other thing to use is what's called a bucket grid. You take the bucket grid in a 5-gallon bucket. If you try to roll a room out with a rolling pan, that is going to cause you a lot of work, and there's enough work involved in this kind of painting, and I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. And it's you just, what I do is I like to make sure there's no debris in my bucket. And I mean, it's really pretty simple. I mean, a lot of people make this too hard, and it's not that difficult to paint a wall. The room area, as you've seen when I panned through the room, it's probably about 250 square feet, maybe 300. So we do know that it's going to take, at least 2 gallons, because you get about, on a textured wall, about 375 square feet per gallon, and so 1 gallon isn't going to be enough, and it's cheaper to buy 2 than 1.25 gallons, as you all well know. And here you go, you used to have what's called boxing your paint, where you take another 5-gallon bucket and you mix your paint together. Well, nowadays with the computer systems that they have for tinting the paint, I still do it, but it's really not necessary, on the first coat. And then by the time you get to the second coat, it's usually, pretty consistent in color anyway. So this is going to make life a lot easier. A lot of people will take this roller, and what they'll do is they'll dunk it in their paint, and then it gets all over the handle. Well, I can paint a room out without getting any paint on me. And of course, I've been doing this for over 30 years, so I know pretty much a lot of the tricks. So I'm going to show you a lot of the tricks in this room. When you put your paint in your roller in your paint, all you want to do is you just want to pick up the paint off the surface. So your roller's like that. So you don't have all this paint around your handle where it's dripping all over the floor. And then you set your roller handle, it hangs right on your roller grid there, and you only put 2 gallons in there, and it's not going to set inside your paint. Only use as much as you're going to need for the room. Don't get yourself a half a bucket of paint and then you got paint dripping all over. Okay, working with the brush like I showed you earlier. You see, all I'm doing is tapping off the side of the brush. The object is to get paint on the wall. So I offload some paint. I don't go to my trim right away. I get some paint on the wall, and then I work up into it. And if you get enough paint on your wall, a lot of people, they'll try to paint a wall and they'll work with a dry brush. That's not good. That's going to take you forever. The more paint you have, you don't want to put a whole flood the wall with paint, but you definitely want to get some paint on there that you can work with. You know, so I bring it down to brush width. You know, probably about, this is a 3-inch nylon brush, and I bring it down about a brush width. A lot of people try to cut it like this. That's not the way to do it. I mean, you want to be able to work that paint up in there. See how easy that is? You get into your corners, a little trick. You take your brush, and what you do is you don't try to do it like this. You take your brush, you put it at a level, and you push. See how your bristles push in? You just push right into the corner and pull it down. And pull it out. Too much work. And same principle works with a roller that did what I showed you with a brush. You got to get enough paint on that wall to work with. You know, if you dry roll, what's called dry rolling, you'll work yourself into a sweat. I'll roll this whole room out and I won't break a sweat. So you get enough paint on there, and once you get it started and your roller